Welcome back to the final Sunday Sports Extra of the Rio Grande Valley football season, as the season is over, but it's never too early to start talking about next season, right. By golly.
Bring on spring football.
Here we go. Let's bring it on, and let's talk about some of the teams we expect to be good already looking towards the 2012 season. And with that, we have to start with the San Benito Greyhounds, who finally came on strong this year. Coach Spencer Gant has been working to get his program in place to where they can compete every year, and Coach Gant believes that they are there this year. Yes, they are losing Jacob Puente, but he was a first-year quarterback anyway. He had come from the defensive side. Arturo Coronado is coming back on this team. A lot of kids coming back on this team. They look good in the junior varsity. Greyhounds look like they're going to be a force to be reckoned with next year.
Coronado is really going to be something next season, because even though they were a spread offensive attack and Jacob Puente was real good, they were never really that throwing team that some people might have thought they were. Puente was more of a running quarterback, and he made some mistakes throwing the ball. A great season for him, but Coronado really made them go. And for them to spread it out and be able to give it to him next year, I like where the Greyhounds are at. And a big season for Spencer Gant, because a lot of people were saying, if you don't do this, you might not see next year. And I don't think there's any way that he can't be around, because he did a great job.
Well, absolutely. And now he's got a lot to build on over there in the defensive side as well. San Benito has been known for their defense in the past. They got better and better as the year went on. They're the ones who held Laredo United to only 21 points in the game, so you have to think that their defense is going to be good coming back as well. Another team that looks to be good, and hey, aren't they good just about every year? Now there was a bit of a lull in Edcouch-Elsa for La Máquina Maria, but it looks like they are back and back strong, especially after the performance they gave against Port Lavaca Calhoun, Brendan, and this team bringing a lot of kids back. They started off young 2 years ago, and now next year a lot of those guys who started as sophomores are going to be seniors.
Yeah, and the swagger is completely there in Edcouch. And Edcouch-Elsa is one of those programs where there's a few of them in the valley where they're born to be Yellow Jackets. When they're 6 years old, they're future Yellow Jackets. Harlingen I look at that way, and Edcouch-Elsa is probably the second town that I look at that way. So I think the Yellow Jackets are back. I think they're looking bright for next season. They want to get past PLC. We'll see if next season's the year to do it.
Well, PLC probably had their best season out of any of the 5 times that those teams have met in the last 8 years. So maybe next year is the year for that. Edcouch-Elsa definitely looking good. You mentioned Harlingen in the tradition there. You mentioned Edcouch-Elsa in the tradition. The tradition also seems to be back with Port Isabel. The Tarpons looking good again this year. They were young, and now they're getting older, and they look to be better next year, as well as does Rio Hondo. Rio Hondo brings back their quarterback, Juan Puga. Imagine what he could have done if he had been healthy all year. Rio Hondo and Port Isabel will fight for the 3A title, whatever the district realignment looks like next year. That's almost a guarantee at this point.
I think Port Isabel is a surprise too. When you look at Mercedes, were saying they were young coming into the season. They figured things out. Port Isabel was real young coming into the season. They didn't know exactly who was going to come up big on offense for them. They had a couple of good seniors, a couple of big senior efforts, but for the most part, they're going to get kids back. Monty Stumbaugh knew that they were going to be young this year for them to go and make the playoffs like they did and play well in district, and they pulled off some wins where you were scratching your head. You didn't know what team they were going to be. You only think that they're going to get more consistent with more experience next season.
If there is one team that we have not talked about during this segment, it's because we're saving them for the next segment. Harlingen South looks to be stacked for the next couple of years. They look to be great. The problem is we don't know who's coaching them. When we come back on Sunday Sports Extra, we're going to talk about the coaching openings in the Rio Grande Valley and what needs to happen, who needs to fill them. It's all when we come back.